So it's been a little while since I've done one of these. I think like 5 months, 6 months. Sorry about that. But it's just one of those days where I felt like talking, and I live in the United States, so I can't really pay someone to listen to me talk. So I'll just kind of hope that anyone in the Visible Not Broken audience wants to hear it. I was gonna actually do a different one of these. I'm sorry if I'm looking off to the distance, but I guess it gives me a more majestic look. But I'm also recording on my iPad, and it seems to be the only way to force a way to look at it. Anyway, sorry. So I was going to do a very different episode, and I had a whole blog post planned for this because I was having a very different problem. I had been having a really good week, like a freaking awesome week. One of those weeks where you're like, hey, am I really that sick? Have I just been whiny and whimpery this whole time? Maybe I'm getting better. Maybe I could start planning a different kind of life. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today. I planned out to talk about like the fear of losing community if you start to recover from your chronic illness, the fear of losing identity when you kind of like have been in a wheelchair for a long time, and like, yeah, there's a lot of likes here. I'm sorry, it's been a long night. I actually did not get to sleep. It was a very painful night. So I kind of wanted to talk about all those things. Like sometimes there's a fear of getting better, a fear of pushing past and having some recoveries. And I wanted to openly discuss that because I think that was something that was really scaring me about having a good week and feeling better and being like, hey, it's starting to kind of become normal. Like each day I'm getting a little stronger with this new physical therapy and really pushing my ability to walk. And I was like, well, what happens if I get better? What happens if I don't need my wheelchair anymore? It had become a part of my identity, and what happens if that goes away? So that was what I had planned on talking about. And then last night I was just kind of laying in bed trying to rest after a lot of physical therapy, a long, really happy, exciting day with my kids and my husband, and I was just kind of getting a little alone time, and I just moved a little bit. I just kind of tried to shift, and my whole tibia popped out all the way in front of my kneecap, and it was loud and scary. And I mean, you'd think after what I just said, I would have felt a little relieved. Hey, no, I'm obviously not better. Things were just good for a minute, and you don't have to worry about losing all those things. But things are complicated. We are complicated little creatures, and I don't think that I do feel relieved now being in the wheelchair again and being in too much pain to get my daughter to school or to get the stuff done I was going to get done today. I think I'm just going to curl back up with my painkillers and watch Grantchester Mysteries. And I was kind of sad for a minute. I was getting a little hopeful about like, hey, maybe I could go and try to teach again. Maybe I could like even substitute a few days a week, you know, from the wheelchair, of course, but maybe I could start like living a more normal and what I would in my head envision a productive life for myself. So anyway, that's my whining for today. I've gone on for about 3 minutes. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. You know, you think when you get what you want, you would just be happy, but there's so much wrapped up in all of that. Like, there's just so much wrapped up in who we are, who we see ourselves as being, what the community we surround ourselves with see us as being and want us to be. And we're much more complicated than even what we acknowledge to ourselves, and even what other people see us as being or think we should want. I will stop rambling now, but hey, thanks all for listening. I appreciate it. You know, here in the United States, we have to pay like a minimum of $100 all the way up to about $300 an hour for mental health. So I appreciate y'all stepping in and helping me out with that. Please put some comments at the bottom. The only reason I do these things, aside from thanks for letting me chat, is that I know for myself the things I've struggled with the most, the things that have made me feel the darkest and most terrified are things that people don't talk about, and I end up feeling like, hey, I cannot be the only human who feels like this or who's worried about this or is scared about this. So I do this, and if you're listening to me like, I don't know what the hell someone's talking about, like she's obviously crazy, this is absolutely not how I feel, then that's great. Go watch, you know, something else like this YouTube. Trust me, there's so much else to watch. And I'm probably not talking to you then. But if you are listening to this and you're like, wow, that hit a nerve, or that hit the solar plexus, or I feel like that too, well, I hope that's what this did, because that's the whole reason I would do it, is just so that someone else doesn't feel lonely. So hey, yeah, put some comments down, say how you feel. Do you get nervous when your chronic illness goes into like a little minor remission? What are some of the first things you start planning if you have a few healthy days? Do you keep a list like I do of, like, if you're having a good day, the things you want to accomplish? Yeah, I like lists. Anyway, go ahead and put some comments down. Thanks everyone for listening. If you are new to this, we run a podcast called Invisible Not Broken. It is chronic illness, invisible illness, mental health, disability, and it's a lot of snark. Except for my new co-host Eva. She's not so big on the snark. She's really big on very polished podcast episodes, and she's awesome. So check that out. It's a new segment we're running, and Eva is fantastic. She is doing healthcare professionals with chronic illness that she's interviewing, and she's starting to She's starting to interview people who are influential, who also have disabilities and chronic illness. So those are great segments. I'm still running my segments, just interviewing people who have chronic illness, invisible illness, disabilities. So if you are looking for that, please head on over to any place you listen to podcasts. We run a blog. That's at invisiblenotbroken.com, where I talk about this stuff all the time. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. Be kind, be gentle, be a badass.